The world didn't expect it. Not after years of silence, denial, and separate paths. But when the news broke, it spread like fire. Yaman and Demet Özdemir were once again at the center of an emotional storm that no one saw coming. It all started with a single post. Late at night, when social media usually sleeps, Can uploaded a mysterious photo, a dimly lit cafe corner, 2 cups of coffee, and a familiar reflection in the window. He didn't tag anyone. No caption. Just a single emoji. Dizzy within minutes, the internet erupted. Fans across Italy and Turkey immediately connected the dots. That reflection, that angle, it looked identical to a cafe where Demet Özdemir had been spotted just a week earlier. Coincidence? Some asked. Impossible, others replied, and then came the headline that froze everyone in their tracks. Shocking news, face screaming in fear. What happened between Can and Demet changes everything. Every entertainment outlet, from Istanbul to Rome, was chasing the same story. What had happened? Why now? After years of avoiding each other in public, had fate brought them face to face again? Sources close to both stars began whispering that this wasn't just another rumor. Something had actually happened, something real, emotional, and completely unexpected. A journalist from La Repubblica claimed. They met privately. No cameras, no PR teams, just the two of them. It was emotional, more than anyone could imagine. No one knew what was said during that meeting, but one thing was clear: whatever happened between them that night, it wasn't casual. It was closure, or a beginning. Meanwhile, fans started noticing subtle clues. Demet, who had been quiet on social media for days, suddenly posted a quote that sent chills through everyone who had followed their story. Some stories never end, they just find new chapters. People couldn't believe it. After all the tension, the distance, the heartbreak. Could it really be possible that something had changed? Entertainment programs in both countries dedicated entire segments to the mystery. Old clips of Can and Demet laughing on set resurfaced, rekindling nostalgia among millions. Their chemistry was never acting, one former co-star said in an interview. Everyone on set could feel it. But there was more. Someone from Can's inner circle revealed that before the now famous coffee post, he had made a surprising move. Canceling his trip to Madrid at the last minute, without explanation. He said he needed to stay in Istanbul for something important. The source added that same weekend, Demet was seen entering a quiet seaside villa, the same one where, years ago, the two had been spotted during the filming of their first series together. Could it be the same place where it all began? Rumors intensified when paparazzi caught a glimpse of a familiar car parked outside that villa. Can's photos quickly spread online, though blurry and grainy, and fans began piecing together the story. He had gone to see her. One photo, in particular, went viral, a shot of Can leaving the villa at dawn, looking thoughtful, his hand over his chest, as if still carrying the weight of something said hours earlier. Then came the confirmation everyone was waiting for, not through words, but through music. Demet posted a short clip of a piano melody in her Instagram story. The song? Our Memories. The same track Can had once used in a behind-the-scenes tribute video years ago. It was no longer speculation. It was connection. The press called it the reunion that changed everything. Fans flooded the internet with emotional messages. They found each other again. This is the love story of our generation. After all these years, it still lives. For Can and Demet, though, it wasn't about headlines or trends. It was something deeper. A quiet confrontation with the past they both tried to forget. As one insider put it, they didn't meet to restart something. They met to finally speak the truth. And that truth, whatever it was, shook the world to its core. The night that changed everything didn't begin with a plan, it began with hesitation. Both of them had reasons not to go. Too much had been said, too much had been left unsaid. And yet, there was something stronger than pride, stronger than fear, pulling them back to the same place where their story had once begun. The villa by the sea was quiet, its lights dim, the sound of the waves the only witness. When Yaman arrived, his hands were trembling, not from nerves, but from memories. He stood for a long moment before knocking, staring at the familiar wooden door, remembering how many times he'd walked through it in another life. When Demet Özdemir opened the door, time seemed to pause. She wasn't in makeup, wasn't styled for cameras. Just a soft sweater, her hair tied loosely, her eyes uncertain. For a second, they both forgot how to speak. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi," he replied. 2 letters. 2 voices. And years of silence collapsing between them. They stood there for what felt like forever before Demet stepped aside and whispered, "Come in." Inside, nothing had changed. The same faint smell of vanilla candles. The same old piano in the corner. And on the table, 2 cups of coffee, waiting. He smiled faintly. "You remembered." She nodded. "You always drank it cold." That was when he realized she hadn't forgotten. Not the small things, not the little details that only 2 people who once belonged to each other could remember. For a moment, it was almost easy. They talked about work, mutual friends, the weather, pretending the years hadn't carved distance between them. But then came the silence. The kind of silence that makes you face what you've been running from. Demet looked down, fingers wrapped around her cup. "You didn't have to come," she said quietly. "I did," he answered. "Why now?" He hesitated. There it was, the question he had feared most. Why now, after all this time? "Because I saw you on that show," he said slowly. "You looked different. Tired. And I realized that I never said the one thing I should have. Which is, I'm sorry." Her eyes lifted. A mix of disbelief, pain, and something softer hidden underneath. "You said that on TV," she reminded him. "I said it to the world," he replied, his voice breaking slightly. "But not to you." That was it, the moment the walls began to crumble. Demet took a deep breath. "Do you know what hurt the most?" she asked. "It wasn't losing you. It was thinking you didn't care that you lost me." He closed his eyes. "I cared. More than you'll ever know. But I thought leaving was what you wanted." "No," she whispered. "I just wanted you to fight for me." The air in the room changed. It wasn't anger anymore, it was grief. The grief of 2 people realizing how many things could have been different if they had simply spoken sooner. Ken looked at her with that same intensity fans had seen 1,000 times on screen, but this time it wasn't acting. It was real. "I didn't know how," he said. "I didn't know how to love you without the world tearing us apart." A tear escaped her eyes. Silent, fragile, real, and now? Now I don't care about the world. They both laughed softly, a strange mix of pain and relief. For hours, they talked about everything they'd avoided, the misunderstandings, the pressure, the fear of losing themselves to fame. And through every word, every pause, it became clearer, this wasn't about going back. It was about healing. At one point, Demet reached for the piano and pressed a single key. "Remember this?" she asked. "Our first scene," he smiled. "You played it wrong on purpose. So you'd look at me," she said with a half smile. The night grew longer, but neither wanted it to end. When Ken finally stood to leave, she followed him to the door. The moonlight hit her face, and for the first time in years, they looked at each other without bitterness. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Thank you for listening." He hesitated again, then stepped closer, his voice low. "If I could go back, I'd do everything differently." "You can't," she replied. "But you came back, and maybe that's enough." He smiled, a sad, peaceful smile. "Good night, Demet." "Good night, Ken." As he walked away, she watched him disappear into the dawn, the sound of waves mixing with the quiet echo of forgiveness. That was the moment the world changed, not because they got back together, but because 2 hearts finally let go of what had been holding them apart. By the time the sun rose over Istanbul, the story was already out. Someone had seen them together, no cameras, no chaos, just 2 people meeting quietly in the night. But that was enough for the world to lose its mind. By noon, the headlines were everywhere. "World in shock, face screaming in fear. What happened between Can and Demet changes everything." Caught together again after years apart, what no one expected. The photo that started it all wasn't even clear, a blurry silhouette of Can's car parked near the villa and 2 shadows behind the glass door. Yet somehow, it was enough. The media didn't need proof. The idea alone was explosive. Within hours, hashtag Can and Demet, hashtag Reunion of the Year, and hashtag Love Returns were trending worldwide. Every entertainment outlet, gossip channel, and YouTube commentator had something to say. Some called it destiny. Others called it a miracle. And for millions of fans, it felt like watching their favorite love story come back to life. One Italian journalist from Chi magazine described it perfectly. They were fire once. Maybe the world forgot, but fire never really dies, it just waits for oxygen. Meanwhile, Demet stayed silent. No statements, no interviews, just calm. But silence, in this case, spoke louder than words. Every hour, more evidence surfaced. The same bracelet she used to wear during their first show, now suddenly appearing again on her wrist, the identical pendant seen hanging from Can's neck that fans remembered she once gave him as a gift. These little coincidences became fuel for obsession. People began making fan edits, comparing photos, analyzing background details, decoding hidden meanings. The internet became a storm of theories, and then, Can broke his silence. He posted a short clip on Instagram, a video of the sea, the sound of waves, and his voice, calm, deep, trembling just slightly. Sometimes life gives you another chance to say what you should have said before. No name. No context. But everyone knew. The comment section exploded instantly. He's talking about Demet. They're back. I can't believe this is real. In less than an hour, the video reached 3 million views. It was the kind of emotional simplicity that no PR stunt could ever replicate. Back in Istanbul, paparazzi swarmed near Demet's apartment, desperate for any sign of her reaction. But she didn't hide. That evening, she stepped out, wearing a simple beige coat, her hair tied loosely, no makeup. When the cameras flashed, she didn't run, she just smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes, peace is louder than noise." That one line, short, poetic, and mysterious, became headline gold. Every outlet interpreted it differently. Some said it was forgiveness. Others said it was confirmation, but something even more surprising happened next. A fan noticed that Can and Demet had both followed the same Italian photographer on Instagram, a small detail, easily missed. But that photographer had just posted an image that sent chills across the internet. A black and white photo of two hands almost touching, with the caption, "The story that never really ended." Within minutes, the world was convinced, it wasn't coincidence anymore. At this point, the story stopped being just celebrity gossip. It became a cultural moment. Morning shows in Spain, Italy, and Turkey were debating it. Talk shows invited psychologists to discuss unfinished love. Fans started sharing their own stories of lost and rediscovered love under the hashtag Some Stories Never End. Directly quoting Demet's earlier post, people weren't just watching a romance, they were living it through them. Then came the moment that sealed it. During a live television appearance in Rome, a reporter asked Can a question he wasn't prepared for, "Everyone's talking about you and Demet again. Is it true that you've seen each other recently?" For a second, his confident smile faded. He looked down, exhaled slowly, then looked back at the reporter. "Sometimes," he said softly, "you meet the same soul twice in one lifetime." The studio went silent. That one sentence, unscripted, emotional, real, echoed across the world like thunder. In less than 10 minutes, clips from the show were everywhere. Fans were crying. Journalists were replaying it. Even those who had never followed their story were suddenly obsessed. That night, Demet posted one last story. A picture of the night sky with a shooting star. Her caption, "Some wishes never expire." No hashtags. No explanation, but everyone understood. By morning, People Italia released an exclusive article titled, "World in Shock Face Screaming in Fear, The Love That Refuses to Die, Can and Demet's Private Reunion." It described unnamed witnesses who claimed to have seen them at a seaside restaurant outside the city, sitting close, talking quietly for hours. No cameras, no drama. Just two people who once knew everything about each other, now rediscovering that it had never truly gone away. For fans, it was confirmation. For the world, it was proof that sometimes, no matter how much time passes, the right people always find each other again. They don't need to announce it, one fan wrote online. We can see it in their eyes. The story was now unstoppable, spreading across continents, touching millions, and as the headline screamed reunion, and love returns, the truth was something far simpler, far more powerful. They hadn't just met again, they had finally healed. The world was watching, but the two people at the center of the storm had gone silent again. No interviews, no red carpets, no confirmation. Just quiet. The kind of quiet that only exists when something sacred is happening, something too real to be turned into headlines. But silence, as always, didn't stop the speculation. The more they stayed hidden, the more the story grew. And soon, one man who had stayed silent for years finally spoke, Can Yaman's manager. He had seen it all from the beginning, the chemistry, the chaos, the heartbreak, the distance. And now, after years of protecting his client's image, he was ready to reveal something the world didn't know. In an exclusive interview with Gente Italia, he said calmly, "People think everything between them ended a long time ago. They're wrong." The journalist leaned forward, her voice trembling with excitement. "So there was something real between them?" He smiled faintly. "There was never anything fake. They were young, overwhelmed, and constantly surrounded by cameras. They loved in the only way they could, quietly, when no one was looking." The interviewer pressed further. "And now? After all these years?" A long pause. He looked down, then said softly, "Some stories aren't meant to be explained. But when you see two people who've been through fire and still choose kindness, that's love. Whatever they are now, it's real." That one quote, "It's real," became headline gold. The world went wild again. Manager confirms, "It's real," face screaming in fear. Inside source, Can and Demet back together, for good. Within hours, international magazines picked up the story. Vanity Fair, El Turquía, Chi, People Italia, all running variations of the same headline. But what struck fans most wasn't the confirmation. It was the tone. For the first time in years, the words around Can and Demet weren't scandal or rumor, they were peace, healing, and truth. Behind the cameras, something else was happening. Those close to them said Can and Demet had made a silent decision. No public statements, no denials, no performances. Just a promise to protect whatever existed between them this time. One of Demet's closest friends revealed anonymously. They agreed on one thing. If this ever became real again, it wouldn't belong to the world. It would belong to them. That, ironically, made the world even more obsessed. Fans began spotting small, hidden signs of connection, matching bracelets, shared songs, identical captions posted hours apart. And then came the biggest clue of all. A popular Italian photographer posted a behind-the-scenes clip from a private fashion event in Rome. The camera pans across the crowded room. And for just 1 second, two familiar figures appear in the same frame. Can Yaman, Demet Özdemir, not close enough to confirm intimacy, but close enough that the air between them said everything. She turned slightly, smiled. He laughed. A moment later, they were gone. That 1-second clip went viral in under an hour. "They were there, together," screamed one fan account. "They can't hide it anymore." By the next morning, News Europe published an article titled "World in Shock, Face Screaming in Fear. The video that confirms what we all hoped for." Meanwhile, Can finally broke his silence again, but in his own way. He uploaded a photo of his dog lying next to a single red rose. His caption, "Some loyalties never fade." It didn't take long for fans to notice that Demet had liked the post within minutes. No comment, no emoji, just that quiet acknowledgement that said more than any statement ever could. It was the final puzzle piece, the unspoken confirmation everyone was waiting for. Across the world, fans cried, celebrated, and filled social media with emotional messages. "They deserve happiness. After everything, this feels right. They're proof that love can survive time." One editorial from Vanity Fair Italia summed it up beautifully. "They didn't need to kiss in public or announce their reunion. Sometimes, the strongest love is the one that refuses to perform." Days later, both were spotted separately at the airport. Can boarding a flight to Rome, Demet heading to Milan. The press tried to corner them, asking the inevitable question. "Are you back together?" Can smiled, calm and composed, and said, The world doesn't need an answer. Some things are better lived than explained. Demet, asked the same question later, simply replied, "If it's meant to be, the world will see it, not hear it." Those two statements, poetic, mysterious, yet deeply connected, made everyone believe that this was more than just a reunion. It was a second chance. Later that week, an anonymous crew member from one of Cannes' recent productions revealed a final detail. "He's been different lately," they said. "Calmer. Softer. He laughs more. When his phone rings, he smiles before answering. Everyone knows who's on the other end." The quote spread everywhere, proof, perhaps, that Demet wasn't just part of his past anymore. She was back in his life, in his peace, in his smile. In one of her last public appearances that month, Demet was asked what she thought about people who come back into your life after years. She didn't name anyone. She didn't need to. "If love was ever real," she said gently, "it never really leaves. It just finds its way home." The audience applauded, unaware that somewhere, miles away, Ken was watching that same interview, smiling quietly to himself. And as the internet continued to buzz, one truth stood tall above the chaos. After all the years, all the noise, and all the pain, the story of Can and Demet had come full circle, not as a fairy tale, not as gossip, but as proof that love, when it's real, always finds its way back. The story that began with whispers ended in a roar heard across continents. By now, it was no longer just Turkish or Italian entertainment news, it had become a global phenomenon. Every country, every language, every fan page was talking about the same thing.